Senator Markwayne Mullin joins us now. Let's talk about New York for a second here as we watch all these big elections tonight. Cuomo surging the last couple of weeks. Do you think that Curtis Sliwa, the Republican, should have dropped out of this race?
You know, what ends up happening is the Republican Party sometimes can be our own worst enemy. Curtis, while he has his heart is right, he's in the right place. If this was really about New York, I would feel like Rob, he probably should have tried to unite with the leader, with Cuomo, and had the opportunity to try to beat this socialist communist, because it looks like that they're on the way to crowning New York City, crowning a communist to be the mayor. I mean, and his statements are for real. People better understand what he's trying to do. He's trying to privatize, I guess you could say, or have the government run over and take over supermarkets, wanting to, I mean, he's made statements that no one should own private property, that he wants to go after the billionaires and tax them basically out of the state. He's going to kill the financial market. No one has crowned New York as a place you have to have the financial market, and unfortunately they're going to be moving away, and it looks like they're headed to Dallas.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought the same thing. Like, why didn't Cuomo say you're going to be my crime czar? You know, I don't think Sliwa ever thinks he's actually going to win.
Right.
I think he does this every 4 years as a bit of a stunt, and he doesn't put together the kind of the kind of campaign that will win. So just let him be the crime czar, make a deal with him, and say we're going to announce it the day after we win the election. I mean, this could have been prevented, is what the polling indicates now. It is priceless to see people running toward, like, what this election really has become about is about cost of living in New York. Everybody's buying into, once again, the dreams of socialism and all this free crap. But people running towards government to cure an inflation crisis or the cost of living. The government is the reason that people can't afford to live. The most inflationary thing in this country is the government. That's what's created all these problems. The size and scale of the government is why everything is so expensive. How funny is that?
Well, Rob, anytime you put on a mandate or a regulation, that's going to be passed down. Yeah. Anytime the state is going to charge somebody, going to tax somebody, that cost is going to be pushed to somebody else. It has to be. A company can't absorb it. Corporations can't absorb it. And so every time you think that a government is going to have cost control and put a freeze on rent, well then, okay, no one's going to build anymore. The market's going to dry up because no one's going to be investing in the market again. The reason why is because no one can. You're not going to have remodeling. People aren't going to go in there and fix up their buildings, so everybody's going to become a slumlord because they can't afford it. And people know this. People that are in the private sector, they know this. Entrepreneurs know this. When you elect people that have never done anything in their life but be anti-police and a community organizer, you have people that think government is a solution when honestly government becomes the problem. And the more times, every time the government takes over something, they make a mess out of it. Every time the private sector takes over, they seem to start streamlining it. We can go back to the railroad system if we want to. We can go all the way back to our healthcare system. We can start talking about social programs. The list goes on. When you try to get government to take over a project, they can never do it better than a private sector.
Certainly true there, and it's sad that human beings we're not that bright, and we forget. We have very short memories, and we forget, and we have to be reminded of these things so often. And this election and what we see happen over the next 4 years in New York will be a reminder. The one good thing for the National Republican Party is that Mamdani is going to be a billboard for your party going forward.
But, Rob, do you think he stays at New York mayor for 4 years? I think with the Democrat Party, they just crowned their new leader, and you're going to have Mamdani, you're going to have AOC, and you're going to have Bernie Sanders out there running for president in 2028. Yeah. And I mean that sincerely. Have you seen the way the guy speaks? He's even more deceptive than Obama himself. And the way he dodges questions, the way he denies what he said, or tries to spin what he said in the past. The guy's actually pretty impressive, the way he can stand up there and lie right to your face. But I guess, I'm not going to go down that route. No. I only went down the route, and I'm going to stop. Either way, we better watch this guy.
Yeah, I suffer to see him doing well in places like Pennsylvania. I can't really see that performing very well, but you're right that the Democrat Party certainly is having a moment, and it's a panic moment. I want to get to the shutdown before I let you go here. It's 35 days now, so it's the longest in history. The Department of Transportation is saying they might have to close airspace in certain parts of the country next week because air traffic control issues. You predicted Democrats are going to end this thing as soon as this election's over because they can't come out and fully capitulate right before an election. They're going to look like fools. Do you think it ends tomorrow or Thursday?
Well, I got to say this one more part, Robin. I'll get to your question real quick.
Yeah.
No one took Barack Hussein Obama serious too. Because they didn't think he could ever perform across the nation, and yet he did. So switching to where I think they're going to open up real quick, I believe that we'll open up, well, I say we open up. I think the Senate will pass our funding bill, a CR, probably come the end of Thursday, maybe going to Friday. We're going to have to make some changes to it because it can't be the same CR. One, the date. We can't go till November 21st, so we're going to push it to December 19th, or some people are trying to push it into January. Second of all, we have 3 appropriation bills done, and they've been somewhat conferenced with the House. If we could do those 3 appropriation bills and put it on there instead of us having to do a CR on 12 appropriation bills, we could actually fund like our military and get them out of the CR, which would be very helpful because that's one of the funding bills, and be able to do a CR on the other 9 appropriation bills. So either way, the House will have to come back, and the House may have a 72-hour soak unless they get a unanimous consent to move on because we are changing the CR they sent to us. But I have a feeling that we'll probably be open with the House vote also by the beginning of next week or sooner.
So they're going to have to capitulate and get nothing for closing down the government for a month. That's going to be wild to see.
Well, we were never going to give them anything.
Yeah, I know. That's the beauty of it, and what a foolish move. And it's just going to make Schumer and Hakeem look even worse than they already do. Senator, good to see you. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Rob, thanks for having me on.
Update on Virginia.